Alright, in this video we'll try to get an expression for energy or potential energy stored in an inductor. But before we go ahead and do that, let's try to understand a term called back EMF. It's a very interesting concept, this back EMF. Alright, so we'll try to do that, and we'll also find out why it is called back EMF and all those things. Right, so let's take an inductor. There goes your inductor of inductance L. Right, so it has inductance L, and in this inductor there is a current I, which of course is going to change with respect to time. This change could be, the current is increasing with respect to time, or it could be current is decreasing with respect to time. Let's say this end of the inductor is A, this end of the inductor is B. We've already established how much the potential difference is going to be. We've already established that V is in fact going to be equal to L times di by dt. Right, so rate of change of current multiplied by the inductance is going to give you the potential difference. But what I really did not discuss in the previous video, that, and if you notice, I had written a little magnitude symbol for this. We were actually taking the magnitude of VA and VB, because I was not very sure whether A will be at higher potential or B will be at higher potential. And yeah, maybe it's still A, but let's see how it works, right? And in order to do that, let me try to look at this, and let's say the current that I'm taking right now is in fact increasing with respect to time. So I of t is in fact increasing with respect to time. Okay, so current is increasing with respect to time. Let's take that, and if you see the whole thing, say from here, you're standing here and watching, and for that I have tried to draw. If you're standing right here and watching, you'll not be seeing the bunch of springs. All you'll be seeing is a circle, right? Alright, so I've actually tried to draw that here. Not really, but yeah, you'll see a single circle. And yeah, and now please listen, and before proceeding any further in this video, you will have to know Lenz's law in order to completely understand the concept of back EMF. Alright, so yeah, so the dark blue here, the dark blue color line I'm using is the original current in the coil. The current that you are establishing maybe by using some sort of variable potential connected outside here somewhere like that. Alright, so this current is increasing, like I've already said, it's an increasing current. Alright, yeah, now very soon Lenz's law is going to kick in, right? So this loop is like the current comes here, goes along the loop, and since you are seeing from this end, you're only seeing like you're seeing the whole inductor as a single loop. So yeah, anyway, the current would come here, eventually would go like that, and then like that, and it goes on. So for your perspective, actually, this looks clockwise, the current, and not only is it clockwise, it is increasing. All right, now a little bit of discussion of self inductance once again. What is self inductance? Self inductance, basically the changing current through a given coil leads to changing flux through the same coil. So you already have a changing current through a given coil, right? And that changing current is going to create some flux, changing flux in fact. And you know the sound of changing flux. What's going to be the next thing? If you have a changing flux, there will be an induced EMF thanks to Faraday's law. Try to digest the whole thing. Alright, fine. So you have a changing current through this coil. Yeah, I've been repeating myself only. Let's go ahead a little bit. Alright, so this current as seen from here, or this same I here, standing here and watching, this current is actually clockwise and increasing. And if you use a right hand rule, if you use your right hand rule, the magnetic field, in fact, due to this is going to be in this direction. The magnetic field is actually going to be in this direction along the axis itself, right? So that is as I've been calling this in my previous videos as the original magnetic field. This is the original magnetic field, right? All right. So now that you have found the direction of original magnetic field, next thing is to identify whether the magnetic flux is increasing or decreasing. And clearly, since the current is increasing, the magnetic field is going to increase, and magnetic field is increasing, that means magnetic flux will also be increasing, in fact. All right. Then what should the coil do according to Lenz's law? What should the coil do? According to Lenz's law, the coil should produce a current in such a direction that it in fact tries to oppose this, right? And what do you mean by why are we trying to oppose? But because not only is the flux in certain, not only is the field is in this direction, the field is increasing, therefore flux is increasing. And Lenz has told us this, that the induced magnetic field should be opposing the existing magnetic field if that magnetic field is increasing, right? So I'll be using a little green color to show the direction of induced magnetic field. So induced magnetic field in fact should be in this direction. I hope that that is clear. Induced magnetic field should be in the opposite direction. So induced magnetic field should be in this direction. And now you have to, for that, go ahead and identify what would be the direction of current in this coil right here. What would be the direction of current in that coil, so that induced magnetic field would be in this direction. And to answer that, yeah, you're right, that the current in the coil should be in this direction. Actually, the current in the coil should be in a direction opposite to the present current, to the existing current, right? This right here is going to be, induced current. Induced current. And wait a minute, I'll just go ahead and also draw the induced current's direction in the actual wire itself. So please focus on this orange color arrows here. I should have chosen some other color maybe, but yeah, I'm trying to make them bold. So induced current is in fact in the direction opposite to the existing current. And clearly, if I were to name A and B for this wire right here, this would be the A end and this would be the B end. And now for the induced EMF, which by the way is given by this expression right here, L di by dt. What do you think? Which end do you think, A or B, is at higher potential? For induced current to go from B all the way in the coil back to A, the B end in fact should be at higher potential. So EMF actually is VB minus VA, which is equal to, as usual, L di by dt. So this di by dt you're writing here is the original current here, this current right here. I'm differentiating this with respect to time to get VB minus VA, and surprisingly VB is at higher potential compared to VA. VB is higher potential compared to VA. Alright, but I hope that is clear. But you must be thinking, oh wait, he purposefully took an increasing current. What would have happened if he had taken decreasing current? In fact, take your time and try to convince yourselves. You will be able to convince yourselves if you spend some time that even if the current were decreasing, guys, even if the current were decreasing, the induced current will still be in this direction. Maybe I'll try to explain that somewhere, not in the present video, but yes, trust me this when I say this, that even if the current were decreasing, B would still be at higher potential compared to A. And this is a little surprising, that look at this, the current is moving from A to B. Let's go back to our original diagram now. forget the perspective and all. Let's go back to original. If the current is in from A to B through an inductor, but the back EMF is in opposite direction, so back EMF is in the opposite direction, and that's why the name back EMF. And how much is that EMF? It is equal to L into di by dt. All right, I hope that made it clear. And in order to focus on the explanation, I have made a mess of the screen. All right, anyway, that's about back EMF. Now for the real deal, that is energy stored in an inductor. All right, yeah, let's do that now. This shouldn't take too long. Trust me, you have won bigger battles than this. This is nothing. All right, let's try to let me give you a perspective as to how do we arrive at the energy. And in fact this is the potential energy stored. What do you think energy stored will be? What, kinetic energy? No, it's potential energy, right? So I'm trying to in fact find potential energy stored in an inductor. It's the energy that is stored, right? Yeah, the idea would be just this. I'll basically find out the work done by the source of EMF, right? Source of current. We'll try to find the work done by the source of EMF and then equate that work done to potential energy or change in potential energy, in fact. All right, so that's basically the idea. Work done, maybe I can start it with power multiplied by time is basically work done. So I'll try to start with an expression for power. Let's do that. So we know that, and it's an electric component, so I'll be writing expression for electric power itself, not electric power. So power P, in fact, as we know, is V into I, right? V into I, or in fact in this case, yeah, let me write it as V into I. Power is V into I. Great. Or power P is, and V, what is this potential is going to be across? That potential that I'm talking about in over here, the V that I'm talking about over here is the V across an inductor, right? So you have your current I in it, which is changing with respect to time. So you have current I, which is changing with respect to time, but I'll be just using I itself. I'll not be writing every time I of t every time. Anyway, so you have an inductor of inductance L. The potential difference across this inductance, let's say, is V, and yeah, and so on and so forth. I'm trying to find the potential energy stored in this at a given situation. Yeah, let's get back to this. So power P is going to be equal to, what's the expression for V? I have emphasized a lot on that, right? So L of di by dt, right? So L di by dt, and don't forget that final term I there, right? So power P is going to be equal to L di by dt times I. All right, if I cross multiply this dt to the left hand side, if I take this dt to the left hand side, this is basically, for those of you who are familiar with differential equation, this is a differential equation, and I'm trying to separate the variables here, right? So I is one variable and time is one variable. I'm trying to separate them. So if I do that by a little variable separable, I'll be getting P dt is equal to L di, L times, wait, I can just rewrite it as L times I di. And don't worry, variable separable, if it sounds little scary to you, nothing, I'm just cross multiplying time to left hand side. That's all I'm doing. All right, now what do you think the next logical step is? I'm only going to integrate this, right? So if we integrate this from 0 to t, here the variable is time, so 0 to t. If I integrate this, and let's integrate this from I don't know, let me in fact I'll make a small change. Let's say the current at a given random instance was I prime or I dash, right? And let's say when I'm done, when I've waited long enough for us to reach time t, at that stage, let's say the current is I, so I can in fact integrate it now from 0 to I. It's a little, that really doesn't make a big difference here. Anyway, so now this is going to be equal to P dt, power into integration, power anyways are going to be constant, so power times dt is going to be equal to work done, in fact. So I can maybe start calling it as work done, which in fact I can eventually start calling it as potential energy, as we have, I have tried to say there, which is equal to L anyway is constant, integration of I dash di dash. It's like integration of x dx, which you already are very familiar with, is going to be I squared by 2. And there goes your expression for potential energy. So potential energy stored in an inductor is 1 by 2 L I squared. That's the energy stored across an inductor. Alright, so that's pretty much that. Alright, so that's the expression. In the next video, we'll be discussing about the AC generator. AC generator. Okay, great then. Thank you. See you in the next one.